Aristotle's famous treatise, Poetics, which impacted the development of Western literature and the theory of neoclassicism. Neoclassicism began in Rome. Neoclassical literature has its foundation in ancient Greek and Roman art. The common characteristics of neoclassicism, which emphasize on reason and logic, imitation of classical models, clarity, order, balance, and harmony. So, Aristotle's Poetics shaped neoclassical literature or theory, and it is emphasized on order, reason, and the imitation of classical models. And also, neoclassicists applied Aristotle's three unities of time, place, and action. They added concept of poetic justice, and they adopted genres of epic, tragedy, and comedy. In his Poetics, Aristotle used wide range of terms to analyze or to understand poetry. Mimesis is an imitation, catharsis a purification or purgation, hamartia error of judgment, Hebrides pride or confidence, peripetia changes in circumstances, anagnorisis critical discovery, deus ex machina unsolvable problem is resolved by an unexpected event. Then Aristotle identified 6 key elements of tragedy in his Poetics. First one, plot, mythos, beginning, middle, and an end. Character, ethos, thought, dianoia, diction, lexis, or choice of words, metaphors, rhetorical devices, etc. Music, melos, songs performed by chorus, spectacle, obscene, or visual elements. Aristotle's three unities of time, place, and action. Unity of time, the action of the play occur within 24-hour period. Place, the setting should be limited to a single location. Action, the play should have a single unified plot with minimal subplot. Then he explains about characters. The protagonist or tragic hero, the antagonist, often leading to the protagonist's downfall. The foil contrast to a second character or protagonist or hero, the chorus, a commentator or the events. On the Sublime, a classical literary treatise by Longinus, which elaborate the concept of sublimity in literature. Sublimity as a loftiness and excellence in language. According to Longinus, 5 sources of sublime: great thought, strong emotion, figures of speech, means similes or metaphors, etc., noble diction or word choices, and dignified composition, arrangement, and structure of writings. Concept of sublimity in literature and rhetoric. Sublime is a quality of great writing for to inspire, uplift, or transcend experiences. Sublime is not limited to specific genres or types or subjects, but has a different forms in poetry or prose, etc. Essential qualities for creating sublime works. We already discussed about 5 sources of sublime: the great thought, strong emotion, figures of speech, noble diction, dignified composition. So these are the most important or essential qualities for creating sublime work. Examples from classical sources like epics by Homer and tragedies by Sophocles. An Apology for Poetry by Philip Sidney. It's an essay by Philip Sidney as a response to Stephen Gossin's School of Abuse. 2 editions appeared posthumously. The first one, The Defense of Poesy, published by William Ponsonby. The second one, An Apology for Poetry, published by William Olney. In his An Apology for Poetry, Sidney discussed about antiquity and universality of poetry superior to philosophy and history, different parts, kinds or species of poetry and drama, and then Sidney's objections. So what is antiquity and universality of poetry? Poetry has been a fundamental form of expression since the ancient times. It is not a modern invention. The Romans considered poets as beings. It is not limited to a specific culture or period of time. For example, we still enjoyed Homer's epic and other classical writers and other poets, etc. Then poetry superior to philosophy and history. Poetry teaches morality, philosophy gives rules, history gives examples but not lessons. Then poetry inspire more effective teaching tool, and then monarch of arts. Then philosophy, advice and rules, abstract descriptions and ethical principles. And then finally, history tells true events and concrete examples. Then types of poetry according to Sydney. First one, religious. Religious poetry used to praise God includes sacred poetry, for example, Psalms. Philosophical deals with moral didactic themes, expose ethical principles. Then third one, imaginative, imitative or functional, which expose the realm of imagination. Epic poems, tragedies, comedies are examples. This third kind of poetry can be divided into various species like heroic, lyric, comic, iambic, elegiac, and then pastorals. According to Sydney, poetry is an art of imitation to teach and delight, representing of the real. Poetry has been the first light giver to ignorance. Poets are babes, means diviner or prophet. Poet is the monarch of all sciences, poet as a maker or creator. Then objections to poetry. Poetry is a waste of time, mother of lies, corrupts moral, negative influences, which give negative influences. Plato banished poets from his ideal republic. So Sydney defended it. Then it is divinely inspired. According to Sydney, it is a divinely, or poetry is a divinely inspired, educate and inspire virtue, capacity to teach virtue, or more effective than history or philosophy, instruct and delight, and as a tool for scientific or social improvement. Johnson's preface to Shakespeare is a neoclassical literary criticism, enumerates Shakespeare's excellencies and his defects. It can be divided into two sections. First, dealing with Johnson's critical analysis of Shakespeare as a dramatist. Second, editorial method in his edition of Shakespeare. According to Johnson, Shakespeare as a poet of nature, a genius in writing comedy. Then he points out his faults. Shakespeare is more pleasing than instructing, and his plots are loosely formed, unnecessary repetition, and he violated the laws of unities or unities of time, place, and action, and Shakespeare's departure from neoclassical standards. And again, Johnson praised Shakespeare's realistic characters, his practical wisdom. For example, his plays can teach us about life, about different human emotions, different human conditions, etc. Then Johnson blamed Shakespeare for mixing tragedy and comedy in the same play, and his long and difficult narration, too long speeches with unnecessary words, overuses of puns and wordplay. But still, he perfected, or Shakespeare perfected, the use of blank verse in his plays.